Well, hello there. My name is Wilbert T. Sass, and I live in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm here to talk about pain today. Pain is one of those things that everybody doesn't enjoy. But according to data that's available on the internet, depending on where you look and exactly what figures you digest, it says I've been able to see that there's around 50 million people in the United States that suffer from chronic pain. And one of the other interesting things that I noted when I was doing a lot of research on pain that people enjoy is that the average person today, and they were talking about just about everybody in this sense, the first sign of any kind of pain, or they reach for the pain pills. Well, yeah, and this is, you go to any drugstore and go in the pain relief section, and you'll see every kind of pain pill imaginable under every kind of brand there is. It's a billion-dollar market, multi-billion-dollar market. Well, technology has seemingly caught up with the problem that people experience when they have to live with pain. Uh, the When I say technology, I'm talking about the biosciences related to the uh, cannabis plant and hemp. And what we've seen develop is from the cannabis plant. Of course, that's the marijuana, that is creeping its way through approval in the states of the United States. There's more and more states that are voting the legality of the use of marijuana. It's a tax source, and it's something people want. So the politicians are eyeing the tax source, and probably that's a good thing because uh, the people that don't use it don't have to pay that tax, and the people that want to use it, they pay the tax. And we can all, in every state, we can use more income to administer the state's governmental responsibilities to its citizens. So, regardless of that, or how you feel about that, or what you think about that, the other side of that story is the cannabis plant has, with technology, they've come up with the ability to, first of all, grow some companies have a proprietary strain even of the hemp plant, or they use a cannabis plant. And then through technology, the way that it is developed, coming from actually a lot of it from the food sciences area and from agronomy, as far as growing a plant that is free from pesticides or so on and so forth, so that you've got a plant that is more akin to nature's perfect growth. And then they have the processing technology developed to the point where they can pinpoint the advantage of the many kinds of nano and particles of the cellular structure of the hemp plant and the cannabis plant in order to bring out and extract the CBD, which is the seemingly elements within the hemp plant and the cannabis plant, if either one that's used for processing to produce CBD, which is just a uh, which is just a letter name for uh, uh, attempt to get rid of pain. And reportedly, the people that are using it, if you look on the internet and you go to the various sites that sell CBD and you look at the testimonies of people that use it, and apparently the laws today across the United States, due to some federal laws that were passed recently, it's legal to ship CBD for the treatment of various elements that has been identified as being, according to users, effective. And so it's not illegal to ship it across state lines because the federal law allows, is structured in such a way that it's not illegal to do it. So there's a lot of internet activity going on with regard to internet stores. However, when it gets down to state by state by state by state, you got to look very carefully at the state laws if you're going to sell CBD. And since I'm promoting a particular plan to help people with CBD, I have taken careful examination of all the laws necessary with regard to selling it as in the most efficient way possible, which then hopefully will lead to the most effective way possible. Two different concepts, efficiency and effectiveness. And being a person who's been in sales all of my life, decade after decade after decade, starting out when I was 8 years old in 1948. So that gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when I say decades after decades. I've been I worked for national companies, did national sales management, local, regional, statewide sales management, executive level marketing, uh, uh, executive level distribution setups, and importing. Own 15 businesses, currently 7cities.com. You can see dronebrand.com is one of my premium web URL addresses. I got a lot of drone addresses. In fact, my CBD products are all start with the word drone. I'm not trying to being marketing oriented, trying to pick up on the popularity of drone, the word drone, and CBD, which are both heavy used keywords on the internet. So in my research about legality of selling CBD, I've narrowed to the point where I can only find Kansas and Indiana where it's absolutely legal to sell CBD as long as it doesn't have any THC in it. That's the compound that gets people high on the weed, marijuana. But the suppliers, the growers and processors and extractors, a company that I'm using is publicly published content on the internet that their product is free from THC, and that's one of the requirements to sell CBD in Kansas and also in Indiana, and that's the way I want it. In other words, there's other states where you can sell CBD, but you have to have a prescription from a doctor. You have to have a certain kind of diagnosis, and so forth. So it's shutting out the person who just has chronic pain day in and day out. And so I think that as this concept grows and as more and more people clamor for the use of it legally, a lot of people don't. A lot of people get it over the internet, sure, but you got to understand something about selling and marketing. And this is kind of what this video is all about and what my program is all about. Because while it's widely available on the internet and it can be shipped into any state, when you get it in the state, if you buy it on the internet, you're open to the laws of that state as far as possession and use of it. And you better not sell it because then you're open there too. And it's not so much that they're out here, not the CBD police are not out on the street looking for you in all these states where it's not totally legal, and but you've always got the person that if you say something about, and people when they're using the product and if they're having the success of alleviating their pain that they have lived with, that's one of the most it's one of the having chronic pain is one of the greatest things that a person has to address from the standpoint of their thinking mental attitude in order to remain above that chronic pain and not live a life of drudgery, facing the idea of facing that chronic pain every day. You have to find a way mentally to live above it. And that's a very, very, very difficult thing to do for people that experience chronic pain. I think of my grandmother who was in a rest home many, many years. And I know she had chronic pain because I could see her when I'd go visit her at her rest home or her nursing facility. She would shake her hips and shake her legs periodically, regularly. Okay, and being a pain sufferer myself, I can tell you that as you're living and you're mentally on top of your pain, as she was, because she never complained about the pain. But I can tell you from experience myself that when you're experiencing chronic pain and you are mentally on top of it, okay, you're not facing a drudgery of life. You when you interact with a person like that and they're in a situation where they're laying down, and my grandmother was mentally on top of her pain because she never complained about it, but she had it because she would her hips would jump regularly and occasionally and irregularly and like that. And I can tell you from experience that that's what I do and have done, is to momentarily, okay, and this is all you really need, is to get back on that. When you start to get threatened with your frame of mind that you're on top of it positively, you're not going to let that pain get the best of your thinking. But the pain is always there. It's always there, and sometimes it's worse. And if you gird your muscles and you spasm your muscles against that pain, in other words, you clamp up, and you and the clamping up jerks your hips. That gives you momentary relief because it can't be doing two things at once. Okay, delivering you the pain and clamping up your muscles by your command of your free will volition to direct the use of your muscles. You see what I'm saying? So you can't be doing two things at once. So while you're jerking yourself, you're relief of that pain, and that gives you that send off into that positive mental attitude again, so that you've got that momentary momentary when you can be relieved. And then as you are, it slams you back into that positive. And while you're aware of the pain after that, you can go for extended periods and long periods with the rejuvenation of that shaking of your taking control of your muscles and your nerve endings and so forth, and shaking though and clamming up those muscles and shaking that hip and shaking that knee, and be momentarily relieved. And I saw her do that regularly when I went to visit her. So I knew that's how I learned about it, as a matter of fact, because I never did ask her about it, but I knew that's what she was doing. So uh, getting back to this, my program is CBD for everyone. You see, as a salesperson, most people aren't really up on how things are done in the sales world. Now, since this technology has just within the last, say, 10 years or so, come into the forefront as far as the growing and processing of high quality CBD products that reportedly, among people who are using it and have been using it, is giving them relief from chronic pain in marvelous ways. Okay. Now, what you have to understand, though, about that is, and when you've got a situation where there's all kinds of this and that and the other, as far as what's the best product, which is the highest quality, which is the best company to buy it from, there's all these decisions that are involved, and understandings that are involved, and it really takes a lot of study. It's a big challenge to study all the information and to make sure that you've covered the bases as far as being knowledgeable about the plan. Well, whenever you've got a situation like that, consumers are kind of notorious for buying it based on bam, I want it, and after they got it, and if it's not doing what they want it to do, then it's a situation of going back and saying, oh look, da 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 da, try to get some relief for the fact that you made a wrong decision, maybe never admitting that, of course, but that's what's going on in most cases, I would say. Now there certainly is defective products and all that and the other, and God bless them when they take them back without any arguments. But when it gets right down to something like this, and that's why most of these companies that are out there just offer 100% 30-day guarantee. You're going to know, I'll guarantee you, after you take CBD for a few days, whether or not you're getting relief from your pain or not. And I want to quickly say that CBD is like everything else in life. It works in varying degrees. Some people have got to have more of it on a regular basis than others. Some people can ingest less of it and have the same effectiveness that a lot of people are reporting that they experience. So it's something. It's a learning process, and as a salesperson, knowing all of this and knowing what the minefields that are out there as far as selling it, and knowing it when that there are situations in selling economics that companies look at, and they're saying, we got to compete for this CBD market, and we know what our costs are, and we know what we have to sell it at in order to make a good profit while the getting's good here, while this CBD market is growing. And so CDB prices, I'm going to tell you, are such that the average low income person is just with pain is shut out because they just can't afford to buy it the way it's priced. Okay. Now, if you don't believe me, go out. If you're a low income person, go out with pain and you want relief, go out and study the prices of CBD, and you'll see that it's not what you would call a cheap effective pain reliever. Now you can take aspirin, you can take all the branded kinds of so-called pain relievers, but my experience with those, and I'm not here to knock those. God love the farmer. I'm not one of those that knocks big pharma. Sure, they can do things better than they're doing them, but nobody. When everybody talks and complains about the prices of pharmaceuticals, when everybody complains about that, and I really kind of don't like it when our executive branch of government and our legislators and our government agency people and the what I call the do-gooders of the world, when they knock big pharma and they want to run them in the ground and say that they're price gouging the public. Well, there's probably some of that going on, but I'm going to tell you something. That research and development, you see, there's the key. And you invest millions as a company, millions, 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 hundreds of millions, and years perfecting a product that the FDA will approve the use for its specific diagnosis treatment. And you've got an investment. You're going to run a company and make a profit for your stockholders. You have to have a return, and you know what the cost is. And that research and development is not free. It's got to come back to the stockholders from some way. And the way that it comes back and the prices that are charged and the sales that are made that include a profit that's coming back that way. And as these products generally become more widely available, that price comes down because the cost of the research and development has been recovered. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not, But the people in Washington ought to be listening to that, and they ought to be telling the truth about big pharma instead of just sitting around there knocking them and telling them how they're going to cut their legs out from under them because they're charging everybody too much money for the drugs they have to buy. And as I say, this takes a sit down at the table and everybody understands what's going on here before you start cutting out all our research and development. Because if you do that, you're looking at down the road. If you get to the place where you as a company, you can't produce these new wonderful, almost miracle medical pharmaceutical compounds that people take and produce results for people, well, then it's a bleak future in that area for people because where do you think it comes from? It's not research and development. And see, this is the in my opinion, this is the terrible thing that the politicians are, and I mean all of them. I'm not talking about any one particular. They're every one of them are the same because they all know that people don't like to have to pay as much money for their drugs, and so they're always saying, "Well, the big farm, we're gonna make them big pharmacy companies charge less." They never ever talk about why some medicines are very, very low, and those have been around a long time, and everybody can get them, and it's easy to get them, and they're not expensive. And nobody ever talks about that, and they don't ever talk about the fact that the ones that are very, very expensive, the companies have to recover that research and development costs, and that's why they're expensive. They never talk about that. So enough of that. So my plan makes the CBD available to everybody, and even though there's higher prices, because when you get a supplier, they sell that product that they sell out to people that are going to sell it in retail stores and otherwise. Of course, on the basis of the fact that there's a tier development of pricing, and they take their costs and add their profit on, and then they sell at that price with a suggested retail discount to the retailers and the other people that are going to sell it. And so there's a margin in there, a heavy margin in there from what the actual source is of the CBD and what you see it sold at out in the stores and health stores and vitamin stores and all that, between their cost that they're selling it to you, the consumer, and what they paid for it. It's like the jewelry store buys a diamond ring just using a figure of $100, sells it for $300, and then when they get the thing's been around and their investment of $100 has been there a long time on some of them diamonds they bought, that's when they start cutting the price, and that's what the sale's all about. But you don't really see them go too far than a keystone, and what's keystone? That's twice what you got invested. You don't really see them go any lower than that because they got heavy duty expenses in those jewelry stores, and they got to recover that somewhere and still make a profit. So anyway, uh, where my business plan comes into play, and I only sell in Kansas, and I will sell in Indiana. I'm going to start in Kansas, but what you have to understand all this background to understand why my plan is more valuable than any other source available for CBD. Because if you're buying CBD in Kansas today, you're paying a certain price. And if you can buy as quality a CBD as you're buying now and still get the same results that you're experiencing now, and you're happy with that, and you pay less money, you're going to be buying from the place where you can get it at less, aren't you? All right. Now, getting it less doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to, you might pay a little bit less price when we offer it like drone CBD in Kansas. And so you say, well, it's not that much of a savings. I don't want to risk leaving where I'm buying it and going over here and trying the drone CBD because maybe it won't work as good, and so forth and so on. Well, first of all, if what you're using is working, I can assure you the company that I buy my CBD from, uh, as a as a customer of theirs that resells into the consumer market, they claim that they've got as good a CBD as anybody there is in the business, and in most cases is way above it. Okay, so the bottom line is that your experience is what counts, and the point I'm trying to get at is if you can get as good of pain relief as what you're experiencing now, and you know what your experience is. So if you start using drone CBD because it's a little bit cheaper, and you're getting the same experience, well, you're ahead of the game, aren't you? Even if it's just a little bit cheaper. But what if it was a little bit cheaper? And what if it was quite a bit cheaper? Or anywhere in between, and plus you were paid because you bought drone CBD. Now, then, if you took the amount you were paid, whatever it was, okay, whatever it was, and it's going to be completely and absolutely disclosed on the website what you are going to get paid and how you're going to get paid just for buying CBD products in Kansas. So then you'll know what you're going to get paid, assuming the bricks fall in place as far as how many CBD units are sold in Kansas, and then the dividend or the dividing of the profits that have to be calculated in CBD sales in Kansas in order to make the program work. And People, there's only the nice part about my plan is there's only a certain number of those memberships. Okay, CBD, drone CBD group memberships in Kansas. There's only a certain number of them. And why is that? Because as a sales and marketing person, I know that you have to be close to your customers of your particular category of product, as close to them as you can be, in order to be able to communicate with them in enough of those in ways that affect their buying habits. Okay. Now, so I target everything in my business plan on what I call, what I brand as zip code cities. And then I go one step below that and I brand further down as carrier route cities. Now, you can't get any closer to consumers than that, okay? Because that's how they all get their mail. That's where they all live, okay, in the United States. So, uh, uh, every zip code has maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 carrier routes, okay? Because the carrier route you see come by your house with the little truck, he puts the mail in your mailbox. He can only make so many, they're called delivery points in a carrier route, and his truck only he can only stop that truck so many times and deliver that mail so many times in a working day. Okay, when that maximum is reached and you divide that all among the population within a zip code, that's how many carrier routes there are. So when I set up my program for sales being close to the customer, for best service, best delivery, blah, 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 whatever. Everything is best because you're the closest to your customer. The customer doesn't have to get in their car and drive down wherever to some vitamin shop somewhere. 3 miles away, mile away, 7 miles away, whatever, or wherever or they don't have to. They get It's more convenient. And so, while the price that they pay for their own use is at least as good as they're paying or less, and then what you've got is, since they're the only ones that are getting the profit on those sales that are built into that price, and other people who aren't in that position to be able to get paid out of that profit that's in that price at a price that's at least as good as anybody else in town, then you see you have a situation where you have income because you're a member of Drone CBD Group, and you're buying, and so in order to net your cost out, you take what you're earning and what you're actually paying. You deduct what you're earning from what you're paying, and that gives you a price for your own personal use that's lower than anything else that you could buy. And as I said, if you're getting good results, that's going to be something you're going to be happy about, isn't it? Because you're not only getting the pain relief that you experience from taking your CBD in a legal state, and and you're getting it as the best possible price that can be had. Now, everybody else might not be in that position, but they're still going to be buying it as good, and it's going to be closer to them because it's going to be in the carrier route where they live. and so our delivery to them is going to be quickest and fastest that's available and can be had. They don't have to drive anywhere to get it anyway. Put it right in their mailbox. Okay, so that's all of that I just said is related to my business plan, and you saw it up above on the page here on the web page, or you see it off to the right here on the web page. Uh, 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 that my concept is market share swingers. In other words, the customers that latch onto this idea and understand what I'm up to here by first of all giving a premium quality product, best that's available, competitively, and everything about it is right. Tested, tested everything there is right about it. Is sold in a state that requires CBD to have no THC in it, which is the element in marijuana that gets people high. And this product that I sell has certified no CBD due to their extraction processes. So it's legal to sell in Kansas, 100%, and buy and to acquire. So uh, the totality of the people that are buying CBD in Kansas, and that's a lot of people. That's considered the whole market. Okay, now a newcomer like Drone CBD comes along and says, "Okay, so we're going to sell a few bottles of this, a few bottles of that." All right, now so we've got a minuscule share of all the other companies and brands that are people in Kansas are buying. And they're the market, but drone CBD has only got a little bit because they're just getting started. But if everybody understands my program, when they see this information, that the organization of my plan is by zip codes, and you can imagine the number of zip codes there are in Kansas. They are literally in the thousands and thousands and thousands. And then you multiply that by the number of carrier routes there are in each zip code. Now you've got multiple more thousands and thousands of places in Kansas where you can buy as a consumer CBD. And the ones that fill up the carrier routes and they get in the zip code host and have the host, and the rest of them that have the carrier route positions and only sell one in a carrier route that has that position, all those people in those zip codes and those carrier routes, they share in the profits between what it is sold to the public in Kansas for a published price and the actual cost that comes in to the drone group, drone CBD group, which is a spread in there, and that's all revealed on the website. So you can, it's full disclosure. You can see exactly what's going on. So there's an amount of profit on every sale. That amount of profit then is divided on a dividend, or not a dividend, but a dividing plan of the profits among all the people that are zip code members and carrier route members. And since they are limited compared to the total number of people buying CBD, the amount that if people shift over to buying drone because it's as good and it's less money than they're paying, then you'll see that market share grow. And as that market share grows, the number of people that are buying this drone CBD products, as that grows, then the amount of sales grow, and as that grows, the market share grows. And remember, you got to remember now, this is a continual sale. So it's not just you get the sale and you earn the profit because you're a carrier route member or of drone CBD, or if you're in a zip code, if you've got the one zip code nailed down as the CBD host, then you don't just get paid once. Every time the audit is done, every month there's a division of profits, and that's sent down based on the percentage that goes to the host and the percentage that all the hosts and the percentage that goes to all the carrier out positions. And then whatever that amount is, that's the amount then that's income to you that you wouldn't have had otherwise, that you're not getting now, that you can take and you can subtract that amount, whatever it is, uh, uh, and from whatever you're paying. And that means that whatever you're paying now to get the kind of results you're experiencing from your CBD that you want, whatever that is, the amount you're paying now, you're actually going to end up paying less. But you're not just going to be paying less on one purchase, you're going to be paying less on every purchase because you got to keep buying CBD in order to keep the benefits coming into yourself. So you see, it's a plan that's is for everybody, and the reason why I say everybody is there's only about 1 in 6 that, according to data, that experience chronic pain. But there's other benefits reportedly that people experience from CBD. Some people say they sleep better. Some people say they have a better control of their weight, eating habits, and so forth. Whatever the reporting is, if you experience that, then you're ahead of the game, aren't you? That's a benefit to you. But pain is the one that really stands out as far as what people are reporting their the experience that they're gaining by using CBD. The problem again is the price. So it shuts out the lower income. So when I price CBD, I'm going after the low income, and that's at least a third, up to a half. And so their sales that are going to generate that aren't being generated today because those people cannot afford. That's where my price starts, retail. Well, the people that are paying more money because they got the money, when they find out they can get as good a product, okay, for less money and get the same results, get the same premium quality product with the same service, support, and so on and so forth, and it's right in their own, somebody right in their own zip code is a part of the delivery system of the product to you in your state and your county and in your zip code and your carrier route. Well, and you're going to pay less and you're paying more now. Well, you probably are going to say, well, why am I paying more money? Why shouldn't I go over here and now buy over there? See, so what happens in that case, as I say, that market share grows, and I call that whole program being involved with my program on either end. Doesn't matter, because even if you're just a customer, as that market share grows, there's less likelihood that there's going to be a price increase, because the way price increases work into the picture is that source costs go up. And when source costs go up, prices range higher because that return on investment has to be recovered because the costs are higher, the cost to sell it is higher, so the selling price has to be higher in order to maintain the same amount of profit. And when you've got a growing market at a lower cost and your profit is low, when the market is growing rapidly to a high percentage of the market in sales, and there's less likelihood you're going to experience price increases. Okay, so when I say it benefits everybody, I'm talking about the low income first chronic pain person that can buy because it's a lower price, and just the price that they pay. If they can pay that price, they're going to end up paying less because they're going to, if they get into a carrier route and get a membership and get that nailed down, which you can do at the website. As I get that part of it built onto the web pages, you'll see it. Click onto it. Then, and you nail down a carrier route to where you're getting, now all the profits are shared equally. So that means that whatever profit there is on that increasing share of market, that's divided equally among all the zip code hosts who are members and all of the carrier route who are members on a percentage of each one, each category of the profits. Now you say, well, how do I know I'm getting that percentage? And the fact of the matter is, that's an honest question, and it's one that has to be answered. And the answer is very simply, I have a CPA running audit on all the sales, and we know where they're going. And if you're a registered member, signed up to a zip code carrier route or zip code host position in one to a zip code, and then however many carrier routes in that zip code, if you're registered as either one of those, there's a percentage that you're going to be paid of the total profit. It's going to be identified by a certified public accountant in an audit of all the sales and where they went. And it's real easy for that certified public accountant then to calculate what the divided profits are going to be and send down to each one of the people that are deserving of them due to my business plan. All right. So this CPA is a licensed state licensed professional, and when they sign that audit, that's the same audit they sign when they do your taxes and send it to Washington to the IRS. It's better be right. And if it's not wrong, if they made an honest mistake, they have errors and omissions insurance that takes care of that. Okay. That steps in, and if it's an honest mistake, if they're criminals and they skirt the law and they don't do it according to best accounting practices, well then that's a different story. But the accounting firm, any CPA that does that really is few and far between because they don't want to go to jail and they don't want to lose their business. I mean, that's how simple it is. So that's how you're verified, and you get to see that audit that the CPA does is published on the internet on my website, and that tells you that you're getting the honest not dividend, but division of profits for a carrier route associate or for a zip code associate in the state of Kansas based on total sales. And remember, it's market share swingers, and that's the one you want to be because it'll allow you to, as a lower income chronic pain sufferer, the ability to buy in and get the advantage if you experience the advantage because it's legal and because it's premium, and you should be getting at a range of, depending on your particular situation, your particular biological body, whatever that experience is, you're going to experience it and you're going to know if you want to buy more. And if you do, well, then you will. And if you don't, you won't it? So, but the trend and the apparent seeming division or explanation of the experience that people are having is all positive. It's all growth. It's the trend is all straight up because everybody's saying this stuff works. It works. It's taking care of my pain. And all you got to do is go on the internet and read all the opinions that people. There's hundreds of thousands of them. Okay, so there's an email address on my website. Don't hesitate anytime if you have questions. Thanks for your attention.